ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुक्तापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुदेश कृपा सिंधु वैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। So welcome to Corporate Bhagavad Gita. Every Friday we have this discussion on Bhagavad Gita. We go verse by verse, chapter by chapter. So we are in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We completed till verse number 25, and we will continue with verse number 26 on today. So in this chapter, Krishna is talking about Ashtanga Yoga, where one uses the uh, mechanical process of yoga and yogasanas and pranayam and goes to the forest. He meditates on the tip of his he meditates in the forest, and gradually he detaches himself, and in that meditation ultimately he should see the supreme lord, the super soul within his heart. So that is the goal of Ashtanga Yoga. And so these are the steps that we were going through. So in this process, the mind will ultimately be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Okay, it's not zero thinking, but should be thinking of the self alone and should think of nothing else. So you go to verse number 26. यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चंचलम अस्थिरम ततो ततो ततस्ततो नियमाय नियमे नियमेतात् आत्मानि एव वशम नयेत. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. So the mind is always running here and there, right? Whether we are meditating or not meditating, our mind is creating so many problems. Because of our mind, we are not able to focus. We see this in children a lot. If their mind is too disturbed, right, they are not able to focus. If something is going around somewhere out or out of the window, some noise comes, they get attracted to it. They get attracted to it, and so the mind is running here and there. So the yoga process is that it will run, you bring it back in its under your control. The nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady, but a self-realized soul has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. So whatever yoga system we may be practicing, even in bhakti yoga, the mind has to be controlled. When we try to give an exam, or when we are driving, or when we are doing our work, if our mind is focused, right, then we can do that thing, that particular activity without mistakes. right? So in the yoga system also, the mind is what is playing a big role. So one has to control the mind. One who controls the mind, therefore the senses as well as, is called Goswami or Swami, and one who is controlled by the mind is called Godas or servant of the senses. As Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness, in the transcendental sense happiness, that senses are engaged in the service of Rishikesh or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. That is the way of bringing the senses under full control. What is more, that is highest perfection of yoga practice. Okay. So Krishna talked about here the mind. The mind will wander here and there. You have to bring it back. That's the most important activity in yoga. Prashanta manasam hi enam yoginam sukham uttamam upaiti santa rajasam brahma bhutam akalmasam. Okay, before going here, what what are the practical things that you think that mind can be, we have to get mind under our control. What are the practical things that we can do to keep our mind under control? Any thoughts?
We must try to meditate, Prabhuji.
Okay, meditate. Meditate. While doing meditate, also the mind is going to flicker here and there. That is what Krishna's point is there, and everyone can uh, experience it themselves while chanting or even meditating. Mind is going to run here and there. So, what are the
Uh,
practical tips to control the mind?
uh, Maybe like when you do something which you actually like to do,
Hmm.
that period of time your mind didn't got disturbed. So like
Okay, okay. So, um, you should like that process. Okay, let's put it this way. This is one of the conditions, right? That if you like that process, then definitely mind will like it and it will be focused. Okay, okay, that's a good point. Anything other things that you think that mind can be controlled in a practical way?
Prabhuji, if we have like sufficient knowledge about the benefits that we are going to get
Good.
from that
Yeah.
particular by doing a certain job, then naturally we do it mindfully.
Sure. Knowledge of the goal. If the knowledge of the goal is there, then we can be really fixed up. Then we can really fixed up. I remember in my case, when I was long time back in studying in my 12th grade, and and once I came to know that after 12th grade, the career is going to be decided and everything will get decided. Once that realization came to me, then I just fixed my mind and I studied very hard. So I never had studied so hard. So it was once I got the knowledge of the goal, then I could fix my mind. Okay. Anything other? You should like what you're doing, then your mind is fixed. Then if you know what the goal is, then mind will be fixed. Any other point?
uh, like I don't know whether it is because uh, when you do not have any other option to like if you are in some situation and you have to do that otherwise you do not have any other option, so in that case also you feel like you are very much into it.
Sure. This is called sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it is an urgent situation, then somehow we become very focused, right? So there should be some sense of urgency. Okay, good point. Any other tip comes to your mind, where you can control your mind? Okay, few things is like keep mind away from disturbances or distractions. Like, some may be giving exams, and if there is a India Pakistan cricket match is going on, then people get very disturbed, right? So one should keep away from these disturbances and distractions. I have a friend who was preparing for IIT, so he told me how he prepared for IIT. The first thing he did was he there was a TV in their house, so he packed up that TV and he kept it, you know, in some secluded place in the house for 1 year. No more TV. And then he he prepared for IIT and he got into IIT Kharagpur. So yeah, keeping
Looks like his family. He's put his whole family to prepare for IDJ.
true, true, true. When children, right? If you want to keep them, undisturbed, and if what you do is you distract them or you don't show them certain things, the moment you show them certain things, they will get attracted to it, right? So there has to be a physical way to keep away from disturbances. Okay, I will put this, we have to physically keep it away from disturbances, not even just mentally but physically also. Any other thing that comes to me?
Staying away from social media.
Yeah, same thing. Disturbances, distractions, so physically forcefully we should keep it away. Hmm?
Maybe like keep read something or listen to something which keep you motivated to do you keep yourself in isolation, like what you mentioned in the step 4. So sometimes it happens like you feel like I don't want to do it, and because so you for to keep on that track, you have to listen to some motivational kind of.
Okay, okay. So that point has multiple meanings. I'll list it down. So one thing is that you keep association of like-minded people who have the same goal, like-minded, focused people. Just by being with them, right, you also simply become focused, right? Then literature, which which gives you proper knowledge, right? That's the point you were trailing, right? That we should read proper knowledge and
Yes.
motivating literature. And this is also a good point. There are many things actually here. I'll put it down. Like second is, sattvic living, especially in terms of meditation and yoga, right? This sattvic living is very, very important. Vegetarian food, no onion, no garlic. hmm? Brahmanical living. The Brahmanical living lifestyle, is helps in controlling the mind and senses both. So all these are very good points. There can be many, many other points, but yeah, they will fall in one of these. So when we are doing our bhakti yoga, right, we should like that process of bhakti yoga. We should know the goal of it. The goal is we'll focus mostly on the bhakti yoga aspect, the yoga aspect. Okay, so the goal of bhakti yoga is to go back home, back to Godhead, to Krishna, liberate, moksha. So once we come to know, okay, then after liberation, we won't have the present troubles that we are going through, right, then we will feel that sense of urgency. We'll feel that sense of urgency, the need to do it, and physically and forcefully we'll keep away from the distraction disturbances. We will keep association of those people who are having the same goals. And we will read from the literature which gives us that knowledge, the motivation to keep going to achieve our goal. And second, last is sattvic living, the brahmanical lifestyle. So nectar of instruction gives some sections of it. We will just go through it now that we are discussing about it. There is a book called Nectar of Instruction, Upadesh Amrit, which tells about these things. This one. So these are forcefully doing 6 things. One's devotional service is spoiled when one becomes too entangled in following 6 activities: eating more than necessary, collecting more than funds than required, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain, talking unnecessarily about mundane subjects, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically, associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. So I was talking about association with like minded people. So being greedy for mundane achievements, this is a distraction, because mundane achievements we will achieve and then we have to leave it here. Okay, so what are the 6 principles favorable for execution of pure devotion service? Being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence. So how to develop confidence? When we know the goal, we know the process, we know the benefits of it, we are reading the literature which is bhakti literature, which is giving us motivation. Being patient, patience is also required. Acting according to regulative principles such as shravanam, kirtanam, vishnu smaranam, and abandoning the association of non-devotees, and getting the association of devotees, like-minded people, those who are on the same path, following in the footsteps of previous acharyas. These are 6 principles undoubtedly assured to completely success of your devotion service. Okay, so it's a big topic about mind control, but um, these many points give us some understanding how to do it. Okay, so let's move forward. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me. Verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the modes of passion. He realizes his qualitatively identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to the past deeds. So, so the yogi who's practicing, right, and he's fixing his mind on Krishna, he derives some highest perfection of transcendental happiness. Okay, and he's beyond the mode of passion. The distraction is there. No, passion is very destructive. So he goes beyond that. And what he realizes is a qualitative identity with the Supreme. Meaning the Supreme is spirit and I am also spirit. That understanding comes to him. And thus he becomes free from the reactions of past deeds. He becomes free from all material reactions. That knowledge, that realization itself is so powerful. Brahma Bhuta. So this is the Brahma Bhuta stage. The stage of being free from material contamination and situated in transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. One cannot attain the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of Lord. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo. To be always engaged in a transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness, is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination. युञ्जान एव सदात्मनं योगी विगत कल्मषः सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शम अत्यांतम सुखम अश्नुते. Thus, the self-controlled yogi constantly engaged in yoga practice becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfection, perfect happiness in the transcendental loving service to the Lord. So, as he advances, he will achieve this transcendental loving service to the Lord. Sukham, Ashnute, Brahma Sparsham, Samsparsham, being in constantly touch with the Supreme Lord. So, for the Ashtanga yogi, he sees the Supreme Lord within his heart. So that is the touch that he gets, and that's the happiness that he gets. A bhakti yogi, the same verse applies to the bhakti yogi also. For him, he's serving to the Lord. He's serving the Lord. So that is the touch and that is the happiness that he gets. Self-realization means knowing one's constant position is in relationship with the Supreme. The individual soul is part and parcel of the Supreme, and his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord. This transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Samsparsha. They are very, very technical terms. Sarvabhutastham Atmanam Sarvabhutani Chatmani Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Samadarshanaha. The true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized soul sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. Now this is the samatva uh, vision that a yogi, Ashtanga yogi, he gets. That's why you see, these sadhus from the Himalayas, they get this samatvam vision. They are not disturbed by their enemy, they are not disturbed by anybody. And this becomes the attractive quality, right? They are getting some spiritual pleasure. And then they see the Supreme Lord in everyone. Okay? And everyone in the Supreme. That is their vision that they get. A Krishna conscious yogi is the perfect seer because he sees Krishna in everyone's heart as a super soul. Ishvara Sarvabhutana Vidishit Arjuna Tishtati. The Lord in his Paramatma feature is situated in both the heart of the dog and that of the Brahmana. So he sees the Paramatma in everyone. And that's how he becomes Samatvam, he becomes equal vision. The perfect yogi knows that the Lord is eternally transcendental and is not materially affected by his presence in either a dog or a Brahmana. So the Lord is never affected if he is in the dog's body or a Brahmana's body, because the Lord is completely independent. He is not under these three modes. Thus the supreme neutrality of the Lord. The individual soul is also situated in the individual heart, but he is not present in all hearts. That is the distinction between individual soul and the super soul. So individual soul is only in one place, but the super soul is spread everywhere. One who is not factually in the practice of yoga cannot see so clearly. A Krishna conscious person can see Krishna in heart of both the believer and the non-believer. In the Smriti, it is confirmed as follows. The Lord, being the source of all beings, is like the mother and the maintainer. As the mother is neutral to all different kinds of children, the Supreme Father or Mother is also. Consequently, the Super Soul is always in every living being. So, parents may have more than one child, and they are equal to all of them, right? And they are supposed to be equal to everyone, to all the children, right? Similarly, the Lord is equal to everyone, whether they may be devotees, non-devotees, atheists, and whatever, animals and reptiles. So he's equal to everyone. Outwardly also, every living being is situated in the energy of the Lord, as will be explained in the 7th chapter. The Lord has primarily two energies, spiritual and material. So in the spiritual energy is where the Jivatma is there, the living entity, and material is where the matter is there, earth, water, fire, air, ether. The living entity, although part of the superior energy, is conditioned by the inferior energy The living entity is always in the Lord's energy. Every living entity is situated in him in one way or the other. The yogi sees equally because he sees that all living entities, although in different situations, according to the results of fruitive works in all circumstances, remain the servant of the Lord. While in the material energy, the living entity serves the material senses, and while in the spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either case, the living entity is the servant of God. This vision of equality is a perfect in a person in Krishna consciousness. Very interesting word. See, those who are not on the path of spiritual life, right? They are into their material life. So they are serving their material senses and they are trying to live in this world and enjoy in this world, right? While those who are in the spiritual path, they will try to serve the Lord directly. In both the cases, the living entity is a servant of God because he's not doing anything, separate out of the reach of God. He's either serving the material energy or he's serving the spiritual energy. That's it. So this is the vision of equality. Any questions on this?
No, Prabhuji.
See, this line is also very interesting. A yogi sees equally because he sees that all living entities, although in different situations, they may be in different situations, in animal life or human life, within human life, in different situations. And he knows all this has come according to the results of fruitive work. And who gives the results of the fruitive work? Who gives the result of the fruitive work? Yes, God only
Lord,
gives. God
God.
only gives. Yeah, He only gives. So technically, everyone is under the control of God. Yes. So
Yes,
whatever
sir.
their material situation be, all that is given by the Lord. So they are all under under the same God only. It's not like they are independent. So He sees everyone as the servant of God. Hmm? He sees everyone as connected to God. He doesn't see anything unconnected. So that is the vision of equality he gets. See, when one gets such a vision of equality, what will happen to him? Can you tell me? What are the changes that happen to him if he gets this vision of equality?
He will not disrespect anyone.
Yeah,
Prabhuji. He will treat everyone equally, even a
equally.
rich man,
Yes,
poor man, or
yes, true.
in all.
Yeah, just the word equality means that only the how he will respond to each and everyone. See, this is a very important quality for bhakti yogi also. Hmm. Otherwise, what will happen if he doesn't have this vision? Then what happens? He will disrespect someone, right? He will exploit someone. He will abuse someone. See, that's what we are seeing in this world, right? That people are not having this vision of equality. They are not. They are seeing beings in different situations. Okay, but they are thinking that they are different. They're different. They are not seeing the super soul within all beings. They're not seeing the spirit within beings. So they are acting very unequally to everyone, right? We are seeing so many conflicts that are happening, and the major part of the conflict is he doesn't belong to my group, so he doesn't uh, need to live. So they try to kill that person, right? So all these killings and all this happening is because of the inequality vision. So therefore, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is so important. That we will get this equality vision, and from this equality vision, we will practice our dharma. And if that dharma means to kill other also, which happens in the case of Arjuna, still we can have equal vision and kill. Equal vision doesn't mean inactivity. Okay. Equal vision means it brings us to the level of dharma. Uh, Meaning, Arjuna is now going to kill so many people, right? In this war. After hearing Bhagavad Gita, he kills them all. But then he has the vision of equality with him, not the vision of partiality. In the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he had the vision of partiality. These are my living, my family members. Then he gets vision of equality through Bhagavad Gita. What is it? Everyone is part and parcel of our soul, and God is giving them the result of the fruitive works. Okay. And because these beings are on the adharmic side and I am on the dharmic side and I have to fight with them, so I will fight with them and do my duty. My duty is not motivated by personal understanding or personal gratification or personal selfish motives. My duty is motivated with dharma. My duty is motivated with service to the Supreme Lord. Getting? Any questions on that?
Yes, so I have one question.
Yeah.
You mentioned that there is no so when Arjuna is on the field and he is not doing any partiality, but when he was understand that he actually under in distinction that he did this person is my friend, this person is the enemy. When he was killing people, so he is only killing the enemies only, not that. So he has that still has that distinction, right?
Yes, yes. But the motivation of killing is not based on that distinction. The motivation of the killing is what? The motivation of
To follow
killing
them.
for dharma, yes.
So it means like is it like saying this thing in this way like if the motivation is correct then the distinction is allowed like differentiation like this partiality is allowed. Can we say that?
Uh, so the thing is na that uh, see when the motivation is situated in dharma, then the distinction is not based on the externals. Okay. Um, okay. For the time being, I will just see, what
Hmm.
is the answer from Bhagavad Gita because it's samatvam is there. Okay. In the 11th chapter, right, this distinction and all that is there. Um, let's see. So in the 11th chapter, no, Krishna shows the um, universal form, right? In that universal form,
Hmm.
he sees that people are getting devoured in this universal form. Even all this Drona and Bhishma, Karna, all of them are dying in the big mouth of the universal form. Okay. So Krishna says that according to dharma, I'm the time and I'm come here to destroy. Hmm? I'm going to destroy them anyway. But you become the instrument of my fight. in the fight. Okay, this is the understanding actually. Nimitta matrena bhava savasachi. Nimitta matra. You become the instrument.
Hmm.
Now, does the instrument has its own motivation? No, right? Who uses the
No.
instrument has the motivation. Like if I say the knife, does it knife has its own motivation? No. But in whose
Hmm.
hand it is makes the difference. If it is in the hand of a surgeon, no one is afraid of. But if it is in the hand of a thief, then everyone is afraid of. So what Krishna is saying is that you become the instrument. Okay, and then the motivation, everything is driven by Krishna, and Krishna drives it what through dharma. Hmm? So
Uh, in this case, Prabhu,
hmm,
we actually, when Krishna is saying, so we are very much confident that whatever dharma he is mentioning is actually the correct one. Okay, but sometime in the situation, like we as a human being can make a mistake and understand the dharma in a wrong way. And if we understand dharma in a wrong way, that means the partiality or the differentiation that we are going to make is also wrong, right? So my question is like around like how do we because the correctly and the correct understanding of dharma sometimes in situation in like uh, I don't know, I don't have a correct example for right now,
yeah. So
but
I
sometime
understand
in
your question.
situation.
Yeah. Um, so that's why we need a guru in life who can tell us
Yes,
when we are in doubt, right?
that's
We
the
have to do.
correct one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is one answer. And second thing is
Hmm.
by being in the association of the guru and shastras and sadhus, right? We start understanding
Hmm.
how to act in every situation.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
A very nice incident happened in Shrimad Bhagavatam where Arjuna, they capture Ashwadhama and they bring him. Bhima and Arjuna, they capture Ashwadhama and they bring him. Why? Because Ashwadhama has killed their five sons and brother of Draupadi, and so many he has killed in the night when they were sleeping. Okay. So at the start, everyone was saying, let's kill Ashwadhama. So that's how they go and they catch him and they bring him. Um, but the moment he comes, Draupadi says, no, he should not be killed. But Bhima says, no, he should be killed. And Arjuna is hold of, Ashwadhama. And he has to take a decision now. What to do? Should he kill or not kill? Right? So at that point, Yudhishthir Maharaj also says, no, he should not be killed. He takes sides of Draupadi. Because Draupadi says that, uh, I lost my sons, but now my guru's wife will also lose her only son. And I am feeling that pain. I don't want to give that pain to my guru's wife. So Dronacharya is guru, right? And Ashwadhama was son of Dronacharya. She didn't want the same pain to go to the mother of Ashwadhama. So Yudhishthir Maharaj says yes, yes. Krishna also says yes, yes, let's not kill him. But Bhima is very strong and he says no, we should kill him. And then Arjuna, is not given any advice by anybody at that point. He sees there are two parties now. There are two parties
Yeah.
here, and he cannot even ask what to do now here because he has to do something. So then he
Hmm.
knows that if a kshatriya, Ashwadhama was kshatriya, right? If he's disrespected, then that is also almost killing. So then he cuts the hair of Ashwadhama and he removes the
Money.
yeah, the money or whatever in the gem that he had on his head. He removes that, and that discolors him, and very disrespectfully he leaves Ashwatthama. So it's almost like killing Ashwatthama. So yeah, it is only by practice that we come to know how to handle situations in life. Okay, not every time we will be able to do it. When we are initially young, right, uh, we may do some mistakes, but over a period of time, under a proper teacher and getting knowledge, we will be able to overcome this. Okay.
Got
Okay. So regarding the question of motivation, right? Um, so here the motivation is driven by the desire of the Supreme Lord. Okay. Like he's saying, just become my instrument, and that becomes the motivation. There is a specific plan carried on in this way. What is his plan? Uh, okay, at the start, Arjuna was refusing to fight, but he was told that he should fight in accordance with the desire of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so when the motivation becomes in sync with the desire of the Supreme Lord, then that is perfection. That is great happiness. So like that, but still, the question of equalness is there. Then how can one still fight with equality? I will try to find out the answer for this, because it is a little complicated. If one is becomes equal, right, then how he can fight, right? Okay, okay, I will try to find out, and maybe next time I will discuss, or in the chat I will give the answer. But this equality thing disturbed Arjuna a lot, and he says this thing in this in the next coming verses. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mayi pashyati tasyam na pranashyami na sacha me na pranashyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor he is ever lost to me. A person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Lord Krishna everywhere, and he sees everything in Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of the material nature, but in each and every instance, he is conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. That is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a development of love of Krishna, the position transcendental even to material liberation. At this stage of Krishna consciousness, beyond self-realization, the devotee becomes one with Krishna, in the sense that Krishna becomes everything for the devotee, and the devotee becomes full in loving Krishna. Okay, so he becomes one with Krishna. It means what? It means he wants to do everything for Krishna. Now, this is a very highest stage. Okay, an intimate relationship between the Lord and the devotee then exists. Only when there is an intimate relationship, one won't be able to come to this platform. In that stage, the living entity can never be annihilated, nor is the Supreme Personality of Godhead ever be out of sight of the devotee. To merge in Krishna is spiritual annihilation. A devotee takes no such risk. It is said in Brahma Samhita, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti, Yam Sham Sundaram Achinta Guna Sarupam, Govindam Adipurusham Tamham Bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Sham Sundar, situated in the heart of a devotee. At this stage, Lord Krishna is never disappears from the sight of a devotee, and thus the devotee ever loses sight of Krishna or Lord. In the case of yogi who sees the Lord as Paramatma in the heart, the same applies. Okay, so I was always talking about Ashtanga Yogi, so he sees Paramatma, okay, but a Bhakti Yogi sees Lord Krishna everywhere. Such a yogi turns into pure devotee and cannot bear to live for a moment without seeing the Lord within himself. So, so this verse has a lot of meaning. One who sees me in everywhere and sees everything in me. I am never lost, nor he is ever lost to me. We have an example of Prahlad Maharaj, who saw that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. Okay, he had that vision, and he had that equal vision also, that he was seeing the Supreme Lord within his father also, who was ready to kill him. Okay, so when his father said, "Where is your God? Is he in this pillar?" And Prahlad Maharaj, what did he say? Yes, he is in the pillar also, because he's everywhere, right? And Prahlad Maharaj could see the Supreme Lord. So, um, so he's never lost to the Lord. So the moment he hits the pillar, Lord Narsimha comes out to save Prahlad, because Prahlad said, "No, he's there in the pillar." So to prove that words, Lord Narsimha came out. And how can one see Lord everywhere? Okay, when there is love, right, then only one can see Lord everywhere. Now I'll explain you. Um, suppose you go to a friend's house. Hmm? The friend has some children. Okay, so when you go into his house, you see some children things spread all over, books, toys, and clothes all around. Now you may see it like, okay, these are some things spread out on the ground. But for your friend, how does he sees the same thing? If he sees the toy, how does he see that? He sees, oh, this is my son's toy. If he sees the clothes, he'll say, oh, this is my daughter's clothes. He sees books, then this is my children's books, right? So because he has so much love for his children, that when he sees some things which belong to them, hmm, he can remember his children just by those items, right? But for a stranger, those are simply items. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Like, like, let's say, some relatives are coming to your place, and all of them have kept their slippers, outside your door. Now if a neighbor is going through that place, he sees, oh, so many slippers, right? But when you come and you see the slippers, what do you see? Do you see slippers, or what do you see, something else?
We feel that they are our people, so
No, yeah, and you can identify, oh, here,
yes, yes,
this slipper belongs to my aunt. My aunt has come.
yes, yes,
This slipper belongs to my father. He is come. So someone, my friend has come, right?
yes.
But for the neighbor, everything is slippers only. So my point to mention here is, because the devotee, he has so much love for the Krishna, right? That he sees everything, sees Krishna in everything. Okay, he sees this whole world belongs to Krishna. So for a non-devotee, right, this world is simply existent thing. These mountains and all that. He doesn't relate to them. But for a devotee, he relates to them. Okay. Um, like Krishna was there and Duryodhan was also present, right? But he didn't respond very nicely to Krishna, right? He wanted to bind Krishna and hurt him and probably kill him, like that. But in case of Pandavas, when they saw Krishna, they had so much love for him, right? So Krishna is only identifiable by what? By love. Okay, so that is the key point here. Hmm? That is the key point. If there is love, then only Krishna is identifiable. Otherwise, Krishna is, becomes hides. We cannot identify him. So if there is love, then only we can identify. And when there is love, then we can see Krishna everywhere. Okay, like uh, you must have seen some relative, and let's say their son or daughter have left for some masters or higher education, and they are no more staying in that same house. They have gone to some other city, and you go to your relative's place and they give you the room, their son's room or daughter's room to sleep. For you it is just another room. For them it is their son's room, it is their daughter's room. Every item in that room um, is very special for them. So much love they have. So they just by seeing the items they remember their children. I'm just comparing that example with Krishna's example. Okay. Okay. Sarva bhuta sthitam yo mam bhajati ekatvam asthitha sarvatra vartmanopi sa yogi mai vartate. Such a yogi who is engaged in worshipable service of the super soul, knowing that I am the super soul of one, remains always in me in all circumstances. A yogi who is practicing meditation on the Supreme Lord, Super Soul, sees him within himself the plenary portion of Krishna as Vishnu, with four hands holding conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. Okay, so this is what the Ashtanga yogi should see. When his meditation reaches the final stage, right? He sees this Paramatma within his heart, with four-handed form of Vishnu. A yogi should know that Vishnu is not different than Krishna. And then when he sees Krishna, he should understand that Krishna is the same super soul within my heart. And that's how they become Bhakti Yogi. For a Bhakti Yogi, he may not see Paramatma within himself, but because he directly loves Krishna, hmm, for him everything is achieved. Krishna is thus form of super soul situated in everyone's heart. Furthermore, there is no difference between innumerable super souls present in innumerable hearts of the living entities. Nor is there a difference between a Krishna conscious person always engaged in a transcendental loving service of Krishna and a perfect yogi engaged in meditation on the super soul. The yogi in Krishna consciousness, even though he may be engaged in various activities while in material existence, remains always situated in Krishna. This is confirmed in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. A devotee of the Lord always acting Krishna is automatically liberated. In Narada Panchatantra, this is confirmed. By concentrating one's attention on the transcendental form of Krishna, who is all pervading and beyond time and space, one becomes absorbed in thinking of Krishna and thus attains the happy state of transcendental association with him. So, so this is the highest state of transcendental association with Krishna. Because he's absorbed in thinking of Krishna, he has that association with him. Okay, Krishna is absolute, no? So even his thinking of Krishna becomes absolute thinking of Krishna, where Krishna, physically he may not be there, but still he's there, like that. Krishna consciousness is the highest stage of trance in yoga practice. This understanding that Krishna is present as Paramatma in everyone's heart makes the yogi faultless. The Vedas, Gopal Tapani Upanishad, confirms this inconceivable potential of the Lord as follows. Although the Lord is one, he is present in innumerable hearts as many. In the Smriti Shastra, it is said, Vishnu is one, and yet he is certainly all pervading. By his inconceivable potency, in spite of his one form, he is present everywhere, as the sun appears in many places at once. So, this is explanation of the Paramatma, that he is having one form, but he is present everywhere. Just like the sun is shining in Bangalore, is shining in Delhi, Mumbai, in Europe. It is one sun only. Okay, but one should not think that it is different suns at different locations. Similarly, the super soul is all one. Even though at our location we may see the sun and we may think that okay, this is the sun that is shining to us, hmm? And the sun that is shining to in Europe is a different sun. But no, it is the same sun, like that. So some explanation is given of the super soul here. Okay. Okay. So it's already 2 p.m. Any questions? Any comments? Any questions?
No problem.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay. So in this 33rd verse, no, Arjuna asks this question. Just let me read this. Okay. Okay. So let's